Hi, my name is Eric Rains. I'm the founder of Unleashing Natural Humanity, here today with Ross Feinstein, and we are going to be continuing our Crypto Sutra series, and this is the second part of our installment. Today we're going to be covering the basics of how to actually get started, and we're going to go into more of these conscious aspects of how we actually move throughout the world and what we're seeing here with this cryptocurrency revolution right now. How are you doing today, Ross?
I'm doing really good. Really excited for Crypto Sutra episode 2. Get this information out there and cover a little bit more into how people can get started and what they can do with their cryptocurrency once they buy it. Introduce them a little bit more to us as people, as you mentioned, and get this thing rolling.
Definitely. So let's just kind of do the introductions real quick. My name is Eric Rains, like I said, the founder of Unleashing Natural Humanity, and this is a movement dedicated towards the evolving consciousness in the scape of humanity on a whole. Each and every one of us is capable of some really, really incredible things that medical science calls impossible. We can do some pretty amazing things once we know how to connect into these energies and put our minds to it, and I have been using these to develop myself to a level that I can do things with my vital life force essence that actually shows in the real world around us. I work with clients almost every single day to relieve pain, pressure, and tension inside of the body, as well as find an emotional release. And what this does is this allows people to completely and totally open themselves up on a mind, body, spirit level, which gives you awarenesses and understandings and pretty much relief from just the general pressure of the world around you in ways that it's really kind of hard to explain. You really have to experience these types of things. I've got a YouTube channel called Eric Pilgrim, and I put a lot of meditations up there that show people how to tap into these things directly for themselves, as well as energetic techniques and things along those lines. My journey to this crypto enlightenment, the reason I am here today is specifically because of Ross Feinstein. Ross Feinstein was able to almost a year ago helped me get into this and started showing me the basics of how to move these cryptocurrencies through the crypto world and what you can actually do with them. And what he has taught me has paid off many, many fold. And I haven't even really gone into this on the level that a lot of people do. And I'm already seeing some massive results from this. More importantly, coming from my background, I feel the energies behind the cryptocurrencies. These are literally a energetic rise in the human consciousness that is breaking free from the collective slavery of the fiat currency system. And when you start understanding the ins and outs of the crypto world, you can start feeling the rise and fall of the tide of the it's like the collective human fingerprint, and it's really an amazing thing to watch. And there is so much disinformation around cryptocurrencies right now that when we actually started seeing all this come out, because we were realizing the potentials, the potentials that are here for humanity right now, and then we saw everything go down trying to really shut it down. And so we were like, hey, we have to do this. And Ross is absolutely amazing at what he's doing on his end over there, and I'd definitely like to pass that over to him so he can tell you all about it.
Well, first of all, thanks so much. I appreciate the the acknowledgement and the praise and all that. It's nice to hear, and I definitely appreciate you too, man.
Thank you.
So what we're doing is on my end. So start from the beginning. Basically, like I said in the last video, I've been in crypto for a little bit, but at the end of the day, me and Eric have very similar paths. What we do is slightly different in terms of the names and stuff that we give it, but through our communication, we started realizing that we have very similar backgrounds and practices. What I do is just happens to be rooted in a Tibetan Buddhist lineage. I don't call myself a Buddhist, but the practice itself is derived from that. And the effects are all very similar. It's Tantra, it's moving energies through the body. It's visualization, it's becoming more in tune with your internal energies, and as such, more in tune with the world around you. It's developing your intuition, developing the same sorts of senses. And I moved to North Carolina to open up a treatment center out here, universal recovery for addiction and trauma, because that's my personal background, and all of this stuff is how I overcame that. And that was about 5 years ago that started for me. So we're here building and constructing on the property. hopefully get our doors open soon so we can start helping other people and teach other people how to break the cycles of suffering, if you will, that they're experiencing, how to launch their lives on a new trajectory or take where they're currently at to the next level through a guiding of leading somebody to their own inherent value and intuitive purpose, so that instead of somebody telling you what to do or somebody telling somebody else how to do something, people can flourish into themselves and discover and have that direct experience, and thus making it just that much more real. And utilizing this particular skill set in cryptocurrency has become very helpful. As we've both realized, there's a certain sort of energy afoot here that's so new and so unusual to what we've been subject to, or what's been the case for so long, that it can be tricky at first, but I think, you know, with a little bit of guidance, with a little bit of help, pointing in the right direction, not to make the same mistakes, make the trip, and lose any money, because you can put a lot on the line here and you can lose a lot if you step into it not knowing what you're doing, which I did do. And then over time, you know, you start to see patterns, you start to see cycles, and that's something that I've always been very good at, is seeing those patterns and cycles and connecting dots. You know, I like to think of myself, I don't call myself an intuitive, I think of it more of as a dot connector. And the application in cryptocurrency has served me very well and continues to serve me. So give back to the community and do our part to help other people not make the same mistakes and thrive, so we can all live in a world of financial freedom and abundance. That's the goal. That's the vision. There's more to it, but, you know, hopefully in a couple years from now, we can all be in a place where we can do whatever the hell we want to do, live our dreams, live our lives the way they should be. And there's so much else going on in the world that's conducive to this. Yeah, I think that's it for now. I'll probably get into more at some other later time, but that's the gist of it. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and that's my vision as well. There are so many control systems that are on this planet that are so pervasive that you can't get away from them no matter what you do, no matter where you're born. Money, fiat currency, the centralization of abundance, because money is nothing more than an energetic exchange. It's the excuse for energetic exchange. And it's the bottleneck, you know, and there's a certain small group of people who have control over this bottleneck right here. And it's not supposed to be this way. A natural system, everybody has as much as they want, as much as they need, because, you know, just being here on the planet is supposed to be a journey of exploration, understanding, growth, and learning. And when you have to work a 9-to-5 job, you know, and fight for the roof over your head and the food in your belly every single day, it's really not conducive for that. And financial security, financial freedom is not just something that is attainable right now. It's something that is growing right now that will be here for everybody in the future, because we've rapidly passed the point of energetic consciousness, of technological consciousness, to where we have no reason why we can't support the entire planet. Everybody should have food, water, and shelter as a basic right of existence for just being alive. And we've had the technology to do this, and it would literally take a little bit over $30 billion a year to sustain this. We spend hundreds of times that on, you know, war every year, and these are the systems that we're looking at right now. It's a pervasive control system that is completely and totally shutting down the ability to be who you want to be. And what is growing right now is the antithesis, the antidote, the catalyst that's going to spark all of this right now. And we see this very, very clearly. This is something that anybody can tap into right now, because it's only going to get bigger. That's it. It's only going to get bigger.
I see a lot of people. I hear a lot of people. You know, there's a lot of talk about this world that we want to see come to fruition, where we're creating all of our own resources, where we're self-reliant, self-sustainable. We're not dependent on a government or somebody else to tell us how to live and how to do things. And I really do think that that is a point where we're going. I just don't necessarily think that it can just happen right away. And the world needs to sort of take its power back before we can get there. And this is one way that we can do that. You know, that idealistic version of the world, it is possible. It's not just an ideal, it's reality in the future. But it's step two, right? And step one is the accountability. It's the work, it's the inner work. It's all of us remembering who we are and that there's a harmony to the universe that we've lost touch with. That, you know, in my opinion, we've been forced out of that touch, that out of contact with, you know, through various institutions and systems. And we're talking about a new revolution of cryptocurrency, right? Quotations around the currency, because it's not just about money, a new system that can literally tear apart all of these institutions that create the construct, which enslave us. And I mean, it's that simple. You know, we talked in the first episode a little bit more about the specifics of that and why that is the case. So I don't want to go too much more into that. Just got to drive that point home, though, that that's what we're talking about. It's that important and it's that powerful.
Anybody can step up into this. Anybody has the power to change the world right now. And that's what we're stepping up into. So let's start getting into how to actually get started. Let's get more into the technical nuts and bolts of this. You want to get started with Coinbase?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so as of right now, there is only one, well, there's more than one, but the primary way to get into cryptocurrency, first of all, is buying some Bitcoin, right? You have a couple of cryptocurrencies that sit at the top of the food chain with the highest market cap, and Bitcoin is at the top of that. All your other coins are weighed in their value against Bitcoin, and you purchase the other coins with Bitcoin. So how do you get Bitcoin? Well, there's a website called Coinbase. You go to it, you set up your bank account, you make an account, you log in, you just follow the instructions, easy peasy. You can use a credit card, but there's limitations. You can actually wire money to Coinbase for larger amounts, or you can just link your bank account and you start with a max of, I think, what is it, like $2,000 to $5,000 or something?
Yeah, it's $5,000 for a bank account and it's $200 for a credit card.
For the credit card, right? Yeah. So then you use whatever means of payment. Over time, you know, it adjusts. You can increase that amount by giving them various points of verification of your identity, like your driver's license and stuff, which I do recommend because those limitations, you know, get pretty limiting pretty quickly. And there's also a waiting period of about 5 to 7 days at first to actually get that Bitcoin. Over time, Coinbase will remove that restriction and you can get your Bitcoin instantly, or your Ethereum, or your Litecoin, or your Bitcoin Cash, which I should have said, all 4 of those are available on Coinbase, and it's possible that more will be available in the future. But as of right now, that's really your primary fiat gateway to obtain this Bitcoin. And in the future, there's going to be other solutions. There's a coin called Ethos. It's a platform like Ethereum that will be similar in the sense that it's a fiat gateway. You can use your dollars to exchange for cryptocurrency. But on top of that, one step beyond, it's also going to be a universal wallet. You're going to be able to store anything and everything in this wallet. So that's a really exciting prospect. That's sort of going to open the doors for more mainstream adoption, because, you know, the average person doesn't want to keep their coins in this wallet and this wallet and this wallet. And as it stands right now, it's just, there is no single place to keep everything. You know, you can keep most of your stuff maybe here, but then you got these straggling coins and all sorts of desktop wallets and cold storage. And, you know, we'll go into what all that is another time. For the time being, you just got to get that Bitcoin. And that starts with Coinbase. So we can start off there. And then, Eric, you want to tell them what they can do with their Bitcoin?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So once you get your digital gold, once you get your currency that you can then trade to other trading platforms such as Bittrex, it's Bittrex, correct?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So it's Bittrex. There's other ones called Binance, Binance, and we're going to put all these links in the description down below. So, I mean, it's not like you have to write them down. They are going to be there, and it'll take you directly to where you need to go. But these types of platforms, they have thousands of coins on these platforms. And these are all the alternative coins that are coming up right now, because you have Bitcoin, the one that was the icebreaker, that one broke through and said, hey, this is possible right here. And then everybody realized all the problems with the functionality of it. And, miners were able to kind of hedge against the process of the coin's evolution. And like, there's all kinds of things that were going on with it that they're figuring out now, but it gave rise to a host of all these coins that came in and tried to fix these problems immediately. What happened was that was like the first wave right there. And then people started recognizing the technical applications of the blockchain. And so all these technical applications of what you can actually do with the blockchain, with real currencies, or with real functions in the world, financial, institutional, information storage, information sharing, things along those lines. This is where all these currencies started coming up. You've got a bunch of coins where people are just trying to make a quick buck, but you have these coins that are popping up right now that are absolutely amazing in the technology and the revolutionary way that they are going to be influencing our future, because you can affect everything with it. And so you take your Bitcoin, you transfer it to these exchanges, and then you can take that Bitcoin and buy the other coins that you want to, and then you can take those and put them in your wallet. You can leave them on the exchange if you wanted to keep trading them. I personally, I buy things and I hold on to them. I have done some day trading. I'm just not, enough available for that, because you have to be right on top of everything. I like to hold on to things. I trade, I find the technology that I know is going to be good, and then I build on top of that, put currency into that, and then I hold on to that and watch it grow. And so there's other things that you can do with these types of currencies, but personally, I feel like this is the easiest way to do it, because honestly, quite a few things I've sold that if I just held on to it, I would have made a bunch more money. But then there's things that if I sold it and didn't hold on to it, I would have made more money as well. So, I mean, there's a bunch of different variables with this, but the long story short is you need to get your Bitcoin, which is that Coinbase.com. That's the bottleneck right there. And then you've got multiple different platforms that you can then go and trade on. Cryptopia is another one. CRYPTOPIA. What else do we have? Poloniex, POLO.
Binance, KuCoin.
KuCoin. There's all kinds of different exchanges out there, and they all have their own coins. There are some alternative coins that are gaining recognition that most of the exchanges do carry. But when you're going into like ICOs, initial coin offerings, and things along those lines, once you invest in there and the coin becomes popular enough, it has to be voted into the exchange. And so there's multiple exchanges with multiple different coins that have a lot of potential, but they're on different exchanges. And so, like Ross was talking about with Ethos in the future, you are going to be able to store all of these things in one place. But right now, what's important is getting a hold of them. And so it's not exactly the easiest thing to figure these out. There's all kinds of tutorials on YouTube for how do I use Binance, how do I use Bittrex, and they can walk you through step by step. So we don't really need to do that. All you need to know how is to transfer from Coinbase. So pretty much you need to go into your once you make an account on one of these exchanges, you go into your wallet, you go to the Bitcoin, and you click on deposit. It will give you a 24-bit encryption key. Click on the copy button, and then go into your Coinbase and then send a percentage. You never want to send the whole thing right away, because sometimes if you have like a key wrong or there's something wrong, which is why the copy button is there. But this always is a good practice. You want to make sure that you send a tiny percentage through, it goes through. Once that goes through, then you can send the rest. You want to be careful with these things, because you can lose money if you don't have the correct address. If you're sending the wrong coin to the wrong wallet, you can completely and totally lose these things. And so you do need to know what you're doing, because you can lose quite a bit on these levels, but there's all kinds of things that you can do once you get there. But the trick is just getting there.
Yeah. There's so much there. What do I want to talk about? All right, so let's see. We got exchanges. Real quick, Bittrex is your big one. That's probably I think it's the largest one. It has the most liquidity backing it, so they say. And that's what a lot of these exchanges come down to, and what makes one more trustworthy over another. There's a couple of shady exchanges out there. Some have had problems, some have shut down completely, but the ones that we mentioned are the ones that are here to stay. Take your own advice or follow your own guidance in this. Obviously, anything can happen. We're not financial advisors. I just would personally recommend, when you do make trades on these exchanges, try to look for a different wallet to keep them in. Like all of your Ethereum based tokens, which there's so many things. I don't want to make anything too confusing here, but basically, you know, there's, like Eric said, there's tutorials and stuff out there. It's not that complicated. Just be safe. Make sure you double check your addresses when you're sending things around. A lot of these exchanges, they do have warnings on them and stuff. You know, it'll say like, hey, make sure you're only sending Monero to this address, or you're only sending Bitcoin to this address. So they make it pretty self-explanatory, but you know, still to this day, I always make sure that I look at one, look at the other. I'll like double check, because you don't want to be sending, you know, thousands of dollars somewhere and all of a sudden, you know, realize that you accidentally hit backspace on a key and you're missing one letter of the address, and then yeah, it's just poof, it's not there anymore. It's lost in the ether forever.
Yeah.
So that is, you know, somebody might say an inherent flaw with cryptocurrency. These addresses can be complicated, but we're still at the infancy of all this. And at the end of the day, you know, that you don't have to do a lot of moving around, right? There's two kinds of approaches to this. You have your day traders and you have your investors. I personally am an investor. I gave my shot at day trading also. It sounds really good. It's really enticing. It's juicy. You know, it's like, ooh, I can make all this money real quick and flip it around. And, oh, what do you mean? It's so obvious. You sell here, you buy here, you know, it's so easy. But what you got to realize is you're trading against bots. You're trading against whales with more money than, you know, I can possibly imagine, that are playing the market and moving it around. And yeah, the you know, they don't control the market to the degree that that's all there is, but what they do is they influence things just enough that they can bring things just up just enough, or just enough down, that it either creates excitement or panic in people. And this is, you know, something that a person has to learn how to control also, because if you get caught up in that panic or that excitement, neither one usually fares too well, right? So that's day trading. I don't even want to talk about it too much. Most people know what it is. The stock market's been around for a long time. Day trading's existed for a long time. My personal recommendation, don't do it. Stop. Just like, don't, you know, give it a shot if you really want to. Use a tiny smidge of money if you feel like it. All the best to you. Good luck. I have yet to meet a single person that I personally know. Obviously, there's people out there that do. But, you know, any friend that I've had or people in my community of crypto people, it doesn't go over well. And honestly, the people that sound like they're doing really well, once you start talking to them, you find out that they lost a lot of money. And a lot of these people are barely breaking even. So, you know, people want to say like, oh, I made this awesome trade, but you can say anything you want on the internet. At the end of the day, do some digging, and people are not making out as well as they say they are. The people that are making out well are the people that are doing what we're now doing, which is investing. And investing is exactly what it sounds like. It's buying something and sitting on it and holding on to it. And, you know, this is where I think that we can really help the most, is sort of creating this mindset of what it means to be an investor, and how you approach and look at these different coins and currencies and stuff. And how do you choose what's right to you? How do you find something that you can believe in? Because if you believe in it and you understand it and you support this vision, then it's something that you're going to want to hold on to, right? You're not going to panic when the price goes down. You're not going to, you know, get super excited and start buying it up as the chart's moving upward, which is a common mistake that beginners make, right? They see the price starting to go up and they're like, oh, I want to get in on that. But as soon as you buy it, ask anybody that's done this, that price just plummets. It's like it's like a law of cryptocurrency. Whatever you buy that's going up is going to sink right back down. You're going to wish that you didn't buy it. So, and again, this all comes down to emotional control and understanding what you're doing. You're not diving in too deeply to begin with. Get your bearings, you know, get your feet wet and talk to people. Ask people for advice. I'm around. Eric's pretty busy. I've been doing some crypto consultations, but I'm sure either one of us can get back to you if you send one of us a message, any advice or anything like that. It's good to have people that you can lean on and not go into this all alone, because that's what I tried to do and it did not go over very well at all. So yeah, you got your Bitcoin, you got them onto an exchanges, you're buying your altcoins, you're either keeping them on the exchange, which I personally don't recommend, or storing it in your wallet. And then you got it, and then it's sitting there. Congratulations, you're an investor. Now you don't have to do anything for the next year, 2 years, 3 years. Just let it sit there, grow, look for new opportunities. But maybe when the price goes up a little bit, you want to skim a little bit of profit off the top. That's highly recommended. You know, maybe slowly take your initial investment back out. I personally, I don't even care, because I'm the kind of person, like, if you can't afford to lose it, you probably shouldn't be investing it in the first place. So every once in a while, I'll take profits if something skyrockets. But for the most part, I mean, I'm not in it to take these profits now. I'm putting it in there because I know in a couple of years, this space and this market is so huge and so vast and has so much potential to grow that holding on to it by and large is your best approach, because the market goes up and down. But the general trajectory for any coin that isn't a piece of crap coin is upwards. And, you know, as long as you can stay detached from that, you're not watching the charts all the time, and you just see these projects and you're like, man, that is something that could change the entire world. You know, put your money there, let it sit, support it. Every time people are taking their money out, you know, they're playing this like a game, they're trading, but trading is not what's going to help propel us into the future, right? That doesn't show support. It's like you take your money out of that, and then, you know, you don't have any stake in that company anymore. There's nothing helping them along. You're just sort of like looking for the next place to make 2x, 5x, makes 100x. You know, you can get caught up in all that stuff, and it's great. You can get good at it. You can also lose all your money. But I personally, my recommendation is just buying, investing, holding on to it, pick good projects, and we'll teach you how to look for those projects. And because it's not hard. It's just a certain sort of checklist you go through, and you do your own due diligence. And as long as you do that due diligence, you're not just going off what other people say or, you know, some hyped up thing that you hear about. So far, it's doing me well. Anything can happen at any moment, but you know, I'm very confident with my purchases. I barely even look at my totals and balances. I'll look at the charts to see if there's a good buying opportunity, but I'm not, you know, checking to see what my value of my portfolio is anymore, because I know sometimes it's going to be down and sometimes it's going to be up. You know, that's what crypto enlightenment is all about. It's just not caring. It's not worrying about what's going on in that realm. Just continue to pursue, find new projects, find what's hot, and go out and live your life and enjoy it and do whatever else it is that you want to do. You know, don't get wrapped up in this like some people do, where their whole world becomes staring at screens and charts. That's what a day trader does. And if that's what you're trying to do 24/7 without sleep, God bless you. Good luck. But no.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and that's really just a complete summary of, you know, the crypto enlightenment that we're talking about here, is because there is so much emotion that's attached to money, you know, and when people start seeing their investments start to drain down, they start to panic. And so this is what we call panic selling. You know, this is where the whales buy up all of the cheap coins for a project that they know is going to skyrocket eventually. And so they'll, just like Ross was saying, put just a little bit of enough influence in there to drop it, and it starts that panic sell, and it drops and it drops and it drops until it hits their buy wall, and suddenly they buy up all these coins for, you know, 60% of what it was, and then the next thing you know, it shoots up 3-4 times in
and that's
the next
and that's
week or
a
so.
good point I want to comment on real quick. I mean, because you're literally, you know, if you're holding on to this and it starts going down and the price is dropping and you start selling at a loss like that, you're literally handing your money. You're losing, and you're handing money to these people that already have more money than, you know, most people could ever dream of. You're just handing these billionaires more money because it's a market with inexperienced people trading and doing something that people with years of experience in the stock market were doing previously. Now anybody can do it. So, you know, it's new territory. It's new waters. The average person couldn't do this before. And, you know, there's a little bit to learn.
Yeah, definitely. It's the crypto enlightenment. It's finding that balance and saying committed attachment to this. And I'm just going to put this right here and watch it do its thing. You know, you don't want to get too attached to this. It's always fun to look at the charts. Really take a percentage of your, really want to understand how this works. You know, take like 5% of your investment and then go and day trade. You know, use the small numbers and figure it all out, because if it works small, it works big. And it's something that you just want to play around with. Learn how the exchanges work. Learn what the buy and the sell walls are. You know, learn what these things are, and look at the coin as an actual investment in what you want to see in the future. And if there's something that you truly want to see in the future, invest in it and love it, you know, bring the energy of joy and excitement into this and say, hey, this is what I am doing to build a really happy about that right now, you know, because coins rise. It's like the stock market, you know, there's always a rise and a fall, steady line or a steady increase, you know. If you pull back the charts long enough, if you look at like the year-long chart or something like that, you see little tiny rises and falls in it, but it's a general upward trend. And this is what we always want to do, is step back and see the forest for the trees. We don't want to get caught up in the moment of, you know, that coin's going up, I gotta buy it now, or well, that coin's going down, I gotta go get rid of it, oh, it's crap. You know, you got to step away from that and find that balance and that crypto enlightenment and say, hey, I want to live my life and be happy, and this is different. It's definitely going to help me get there. You know, this is an investment for my future, so I don't have to watch this every day. You know, my future is my entire life.
If it wasn't such a problem, we wouldn't even need to talk about this, right? Like, if we didn't see so many people losing their minds and had gone through a time period of losing our minds ourselves, there would be absolutely no reason to even come up with a term like crypto enlightenment. And it sounds silly, but it's so true. There's this point where you just realize it's not worth it. Not only is it not worth it, it's not getting you anywhere. It's not achieving anything. It's so much stress. It's so much pressure. Unless you're a professional at this, it is not worth it. We have seen many people, I mean, thousands and thousands of people who are almost, it's a drug. I mean, it really is. Let's be honest about it. That's what we're talking about. This is so much more intense than Facebook or Instagram. I think a big part of it is because it's money. It's like gambling. That's what it is, right? It's a gambling addiction. Day trading and the emotional, it's gambling, and it's an addiction. It can take you out.
Yeah, you don't want to be cloistered in your room with, you know, computer screens all around you, you know.
It's depressing, man.
Red Bulls and, you know, like a pea jar next to you. Like, and there are people who do this, and some of them are very successful at it, but the quality of life, is it worth it? It's not for me. I know that my investment right now will grow, and 3 years from now, I'm going to be seeing way more than I invested. And this is enough for me. And so what I do is I just keep an eye out for opportunities that are growing, places that are coming into the world right now that are offering coins that and tokens that are geared around a very specific technology, a very specific movement in the world. And that's what I'm looking for right now. And so I take what I can afford to lose and I put it in there. And honestly, at this point, I'm, you know, Christmas was, in the holidays was kind of slow for me. So I'm at the point right now where I'm not investing. I'm just letting everything go by and do its thing. And I'm just watching it. I'm just paying attention to it. And every once in a while, I'll get on, see what it's worth, see what it's doing. And then I'll go and I'll research more coins. And it's not something that is a 24-hour addiction. It's not something that is, you know, a constant, like, well, what's going on? What's going on? Because that's what it was turning into. And I felt this happening.
Am I making money? Am I losing money? Oh my God.
Exactly. You know, and it is. It's a gambling addiction. It's like, well, what about right now? What about right now? Do I get to feel good, or do I get to feel like crap? Am I stopping? Am I going up? And you're putting your emotional control into the hands of something that is outside of you. And when you bring it back into you and say, hey, crypto enlightenment, buddy, that's where it's at, you know? Like, that's what it's all about, because there are amazing potentials here, but just like everything else, you know, it's a double-edged sword. It can cut too, you know, just as much as, you know, clear the brush from in front of you, chopping through the woods. If you stick your hand in front of you, you can chop your hand off, you know? So just pay attention, be aware. And this isn't just internet money. This isn't just the technology. This isn't just world revolution change right here. What we're talking about is finding a balance inside of yourself that it goes much, much bigger than just the quality of life. Once you can find a balance inside of yourself using these stressors as you know, a guidepost to, like, hey, here's the middle path right there, you can really do some amazing things within yourself. This isn't just about money at all.
And I think that's an excellent point. I mean, it's a practice in itself. You know, whether you meditate or you don't meditate, or there's anything else in your life that you do that lends itself towards your spiritual development and growth, ironically enough, you know, when it comes to something like this and money, it's a real test. It's a test of your willpower. It's a test of your attachment. And it's an opportunity to examine yourself, because when you start going into that panic state, that really emotional state, you know, you have to, there's some deep introspection that ends up happening. You know, I remember points where I felt like my world was crumbling around me. You know, and who wants to, you know, spend day after day feeling like that? But ultimately what it ended up doing was, once you snap through, once you break through that wall, it's really hard to put in words. Like so many other things, it requires that direct experience. But I do believe that I'm better off for having gone through that. Now, does that mean that you should, you know, go throw yourselves into the pits of hell and, you know, bear the fire and the flames so that you come out the other end, you know, having learned a lesson? I don't think that's necessarily necessary. It was good for me. I liked it, you know, but that's kind of how I lived in general. You know, I did drugs for a really long time. I always threw myself into the fire and the flames and just sort of hoped I'd be alive at some point after that. But, you know, it's definitely not a path for everybody. So all in all, you know, the bottom line here is, I think we gave a good coverage of what to do with your investment, and what your options are. Obviously, you know how we feel about it, but it's up to you guys. You know, figure out your own way, pave your own path, and maybe you figure out something that, you know, we never thought of.
Yeah. See, that's a huge point, actually. I've been noticing with my clients, these are people who have been doing the same type of energy work that I do for a lot less time than I am. And by me being able to point them in the direction that they need to go, within 6 months, they're easily comparable to where I'm at. And this is with steady practice and work every day. But this is something that I have been noticing, is that they are actually coming back and teaching me things that are helping me along on my journey and my evolutionary path as well. And it's really just beautiful to watch this energy happen, because there's so much learning to happen inside of this world right now. It's literally the Wild West. There are no, you know, boundaries on this, and people are just doing whatever the heck they want. It's time that there was some integrity that was brought into this. It's time that there was a balanced energy that was brought into this collective explosion of potential, because that's what we're stepping into.
That is what this channel is all about. That is hitting it right on the nail on the head. That is what brought Eric and I to the point of realizing that we needed to start talking about this stuff and putting a different spin on this. Because you go out there, and I get from people all the time that, you know, oh, I don't know who to listen to. And you go on YouTube and everything is so polarized. Everybody's trying to hype stuff up. Everybody's trying to get you to buy their coins, what they're invested in, or people are just spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt, or in the crypto community, it's called FUD. So everybody's spreading FUD, and either that or, like, you know, flying off the charts with excitement about this coin and that coin. You don't know who's getting paid by who. And we're not getting paid by anybody. We're not even going to tell you what to do, what to buy. You know, we might mention some projects here and there that we're personally invested in, but, you know, we're not going to go into that level of things, because that's not what it's about. We see the bigger picture of this. It's not just about all of that. There's a real opportunity here. And if we can bring that sort of grounding, more balanced energy to all this, I think we'll see this community flourish into something really powerful. And then imagine this, like, you know, all these people in the truther and the disclosure communities, and people that are already starting to, like, make moves and trying to do something to make this world better. This is an opportunity for us to work together and help each other to achieve a certain state of mind and control and accountability over our lives, that as more of us unify in this way, it will magnify and expand, and the influence it will have will be spread out farther than the eyes and the mind can see. Well, not farther than the mind can see, but farther than the eyes can see. It's incredible, you know, and the passion that we have for this, it doesn't come from nothing. We don't want to sell you on anything. Make your own choices, but this is real.
100% real. Goosebumps, head to toe, Ross. That was beautiful, man. Thank you. That's what this channel is all about right there.
Yeah,
you can't buy us. We're here for you guys. That's all there is to it. We're here to let you know there's an amazing opportunity here. and we can navigate this, and not just navigate this successfully. We can navigate this with flying colors, and then take our collective vote into the world and change it.
Absolutely. And it's actually similar. Well, as we're talking about this, one thing that came to mind, I mean, it's really no different, you know, like when somebody comes in, you know, the whole reason that I'm starting this recovery center is because to all of this are, and how wrong and chaotic that whole realm of things is. And I noticed in myself that, you know, after years of trying to get clean and trying to get sober, it wasn't until I stopped listening to all this noise around me and people saying, do this, do that, this is how you do it. And I started listening to my own inner guidance and, you know, started to accept who I was and what I was doing and let myself go through the process. So things really started to turn around. And I, you know, found a teacher that instead of telling me what to do, just helped give me the tools that I needed to sort of do it on my own. And figure it out. And that's basically what we're trying to do here also. In future episodes, you know, we'll go through things here and there of how to make a good decision or things that you can look at, but at the end of the day, this movement's about accountability, and we got to take it into our own hands, and we're never going to tell you what to do or how to do it. It's just not the place for that.
Definitely not. This is a place of evolution. This is a place of learning, of growth, and becoming better than we were the day before. And this is just another tool that we're using for that.
Absolutely.
Well, beautiful. So I think we covered just about everything that we needed to in this one, didn't we?
I believe so. Was there anything else?
And then some. No, I think we got everything. Yeah. I think this was a great one. Awesome. Cool. So this is Eric Rains and Ross Feinstein signing off with Crypto Sutra episode 2. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.